Welcome back. So as you can see, this is a vehicle vlog, bumpy car vlog. We wanted to do another fireplace video for you guys since the other one went dark, but we haven't gotten around to doing that yet. So we are on the road, obviously on the way to take my mother to a doctor's appointment. We haven't picked her up yet, and I thought we could talk a little bit about some stuff we've been watching lately. Horror, obviously, since it is the Halloween season. You know, just a little bit of catch up, and then later on in the week, hopefully we'll have some time to do some more videos with, you know, out at the fire pit that are actually daylight where you can see, and it's just not disembodied heads or voices floating in the night.
Which is kind of cool anyways.
Yeah, that is fitting for the Halloween season. So he bought a whole bunch of horror movies for Halloween season this year, which is something that he does pretty much every year. But this year, I think the haul was kind of epic proportions.
Yeah, I kind of lost my mind somewhere along the way.
Like, think of like a haul that I might do after I've been given Christmas money with coloring books. Only do horror movies instead. So yeah, I want to do a video showing all those, but we're running out of time. But hopefully, like I said, we'll get to it. But so yeah, he bought a whole bunch of horror movies, and we've been watching some of them, and also some different stuff. So we started watching The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix.
Which so far has been pretty excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it almost feels like an early Stephen King novel. Like the characters are really fleshed out well and everything, and it just seems like each episode has gotten better. Now, mind you, we left off with episode 5, and it could go terribly wrong somewhere along the ways, but so far I really like it.
Yeah, we're on we'll be watching episode 6 probably tonight, I'm assuming, when we get home this evening. But I have to say, I think episodes 4 and 5 so far have been the best of the, you know, we're exactly halfway. I think, is it 10 episodes, right?
Yep.
So we're exactly halfway between, you know, the show beginning and end, and I definitely have to say episodes 4 and 5 to me have been the best. And I didn't think he was going to want to watch it because it's got like drama in it too. It's family drama mixed with horror. So I immediately thought he wouldn't be into that because neither one of us is a big fan of horror that gets too psychological or, you know, too much drama. So I didn't really think he'd be interested. So I asked him, you know, are you interested in this? If you're not, I'll watch it on my own. And he said he was. So we started it, and it's really, really good. It's definitely got some family drama in it, but it's also, the horror in it is very good, and it's not like a subtle horror. I mean, it's there. It's in your face.
Creepy.
It's not alluded to. It's not something that you hear off screen or anything like that. I mean, it is full-on horror. So that, yeah, really, really good. We've been really enjoying that.
And the characters are just you might start out hating the character, and then all of a sudden they'll devote the whole episode to a character, and you completely change your mind about them. So,
right.
Or vice versa.
Right.
So it's there's a lot of time jumps.
Yeah, back and forth.
But it's not hard to keep up with or anything either.
And if you've read the original Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, or even if you've seen the original movie, or even the movie with, was that from the 90s with Liam Neeson and Catherine Zeta-Jones in it?
Yeah.
It's different from that. The characters are different. It's loosely based. They've taken some things and ran with it and made it their own, but in my opinion, for the better. The Haunting of Hill House is not one of my favorite horror novels, even though I feel like it should be because everyone considers it a classic. I don't really like it that much.
Yeah, I wasn't going crazy about it myself. I mean, to me, it was like super boring. But then again, when you grow up reading all these other things and that, and then you go back but yeah, I thought it was really boring. But to each their own.
Yeah.
But it does, now the TV show does play really good, what do you call it, homage to
Yes.
the novel
original.
and the characters and everything. So
Yeah, definitely. It's good. And so far for movies that we've been watching lately, we've been mixing it up quite a bit with horror, like different genres and different types and everything. We watched recently 2 horror movies from I think the 90s, or was it? No, it might have been late 80s. That Bordello of Blood and Tales from the Crypt movies.
Yeah.
Bordello of Blood and Demon Knight.
Yep.
So those are fun. I consider those fun horror movies. You know, they're like have lots of elements of comedy mixed in with them, and you're not, you know, it's kind of gory and everything. So Bordello of Blood has Dennis Leary. Is that it? No, not Dennis Leary.
Dennis Miller. Dennis
Miller, if you remember him. And who was that girl that played the head vampire chick? She was like a sports model from the 80s, redheaded. I can't remember now. I'm like drawing a total blank.
Yeah.
But she's running a bordello of vampire hookers out of a funeral home, and you know, it's about the attempts to stop that and put a stop to it. And then Demon Knight is also another Tales from the Crypt movie, and it has Jada Pinkett in it way back before she married Will Smith.
Yeah, I would say that was probably one of her first roles.
Yeah.
And Billy Zane, who to me, Billy Zane is excellent in the movie, but Billy Zane is one of those underrated characters. I really like Billy Zane.
Yeah, he's fun in that movie. He's a lot of fun. And if you haven't seen them before, they are hosted by the Crypt Keeper. So at the beginning and at the end, you know, he makes his appearance and everything like that. So those are fun. Let's see, what else have we watched?
Scars of Dracula.
Yes, that's an old one.
Pretty good. You can't go wrong with Hammer horror. I love Hammer horror anyways, but Scars of Dracula is a particularly violent one.
Yeah, that's a good one with Christopher Lee in it.
He looks particularly vampires in that. Like, he's got that extra blue tint to his skin.
And what did you say that it was considered one of the most violent movies? I gotta take a drink of my pop. You can expand on that.
Well, I've always been a huge fan of Hammer horror anyways, and how they basically revived all the Universal monsters with the exception of the creature from the Black Lagoon, and then put their own spin on it and everything. And I mean, they're fantastic, fun movies. And which is, to go back to the Halloween memory thing that we were talking about in the other video, one of my favorite memories was my brother and I were watching TV one night, and it was getting closer to Halloween or whatever, and all of a sudden he goes upstairs and he goes, you know what? He goes, I was going to give you this for Christmas, but he goes, it's more fitting for Halloween or whatever. And he gives me this big box, and it was full of nothing but Hammer horror VHS tapes, you know, Curse of the Werewolf, 4 or 5 different Christopher Lee Dracula movies, you know, some of the Frankensteins with Peter Cushing in that, some of the Mummy movies. And I mean, I'll always remember that. It was just it was a cool gift to get anyways. But, and then ever since then, I've kind of like tried, every year I usually get like a handful of new horror movies anyways, maybe new or old. But again, I kind of lost my mind this year and just bought a whole stinking bunch of them.
Yeah, he did.
But anyway, but the Hammer horror, you just can't go wrong with Hammer horror.
But with that Scars of Dracula, what I was seeing was, you said it was considered one of the most gory movies of its time, and I could, or of the Hammer films or something, and I could understand it because at the beginning, there's a scene where Dracula, and this isn't like a spoiler really, or do you think it is? There's a scene in a church with all these women slaughtered. And I mean, when I say slaughtered, I mean slaughtered by like the 60s or early 70s standard. It's not anything like overly graphic for these days, but for then, and the women are of all ages, and I think it was probably quite shocking back then, you know, to see like elderly women, mother age women, you know, all these women splayed out in this church, so I could understand that for sure. But that was pretty good.
But one thing you do not want to watch, generally speaking, some of the Hammer movies, especially the later ones, you do not want to watch them with children because there is nudity.
A lot, yeah, nudity.
It's and Hammer gets the period look down perfectly. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a studio get a different period looks down, but they definitely have the thing with the buxom beauties and
they're always wearing these laced up corsets, and the bad guy always takes his knife or rips the laces, and she's not wearing a bra, of course, so her boobies are like right out there, bam, for everybody to see.
Chances are pretty good that the local wench that is the tavern maiden or whatever you call it is going to become a victim. So and she's usually wearing some kind of a low cut top type deal.
And then we watched Cry of the Banshee, and that's also, is it Hammer or no? That's not Hammer.
No, that's not.
It has Vincent Price in it. We watched that the other night, and what's going on? The guys are going so slow. These semis, they're like hugging up both lanes, talking to each other or something. But we watched that the other night, and it was particularly full of breasts. I would say like a lot of breasts in this movie, you know. But Vincent Price.
I've never seen Cry of the Banshee.
Well, I remembered it from when I was a kid, because now they didn't show the breasts on TV, obviously. But when I was a kid, I would watch those, you know, Saturday afternoon creature feature type films with my dad, and that was one of the ones that they would show a lot. And it would be edited for television, obviously, but we would watch that. And so I had been mentioning that movie to him for years now. We should try to get a copy of that. And then he finally got one this season, and so we watched it. And Vincent Price is particularly sinister in this movie. He's definitely a bad guy. Definitely
low down, dirty rat in this one.
Yeah,
which he is in the most movies.
Yeah, he's good at that. Definitely good at that.
Which is ironic because they said in real life he was like a super gentle person, you know, that loved to cook and loved fine art.
Yeah, he's got cookbooks out. I don't know if you guys knew that, but he does have, I think, 2, doesn't he?
I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
But fantastic actor, though.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And then we watched, was it last night we watched Hell Night?
Yeah.
We watched Hell Night.
Yeah.
That was another one he picked up.
Which I had never seen, but I had always heard of what a cult classic it is.
It stars Linda Blair, you know, from The Exorcist, only she's grown. And I think, what did we figure out, was 1981?
It was 1981, yeah.
So she is pledging a sorority, and it's Hell Night for this fraternity and sorority, and the pledges have to spend the night in a haunted house. And of course, things go terribly awry because the house actually, they've rigged it up to be haunted, but then of course the place is actually home to something. Right. So, yeah.
And it also reaffirms that when they say classic or cult classic, that term is loosely based, and everybody has to make their own decisions. But I mean, it wasn't terrible.
I remembered it because I actually watched it while I was babysitting one time. I told him I was probably like 13 or 14 years old, and I was watching these 2 little kids, and it was on their parents' cable or whatever, and I watched it. So I had seen it before, but he never had. So that's what we watched last night. That and a couple of episodes, the episodes 4 and 5 of Haunting of Hill House. But he got me also in his ginormous movie haul, Hereditary, which we have just seen recently because we rented it. It hasn't been out too long for rental, with Toni Collette in it, and I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved that movie, and
it's pretty disturbing.
It is disturbing. but I really, really liked it because I am a big fan of the slow burn when it comes to horror movies. Like, I love movies that are subtle and quiet and kind of slow, and then all of a sudden, like, the horror is just like bam, right in your face, and you can't, you know, it's like right there, and I really enjoy those types of movies. And he also got me The Black Coat's Daughter, which is very much like that too. It's very quiet and low-key and subtle. It's got a creepiness to it, but you're just like thinking, well, this movie isn't that scary, and then all of a sudden, wham, it's like in your face. And I love that kind of stuff. The Black Coat's Daughter was written, or was it directed by Anthony Perkins' son? Directed by Anthony Perkins' son. So Anthony Perkins, obviously, you know, is from Psycho, and I really, really enjoyed that movie. That's really, really good too. And The Witch is another one that he picked up for me during that haul because I love those type of movies, and The Witch is like that too. It's very subtle, quiet, low-key, and then the end just really comes through and gut punches you, you know, with its horror, and I like that kind of stuff a lot. So we haven't seen The Witch. We watched it, was it last year? We held off on watching The Witch because the Church of Satan, of all things, endorsed that movie. They like made it,
embraced it.
Yeah, they said it was, you know, they were like, that was their official movie or something. So that immediately put us off, because we are Christians, even though we love horror movies and everything. We are Christians, and you know, I don't want to really watch anything that the Church of Satan is endorsing, but somehow we ended up watching it anyways. We decided to take a chance on it.
I don't think the makers of the movie had anything to do with the Church of Satan.
Right. It wasn't
grabbing
their
hold of it or whatever. It was just one of those things where they decided to grab it and premiere it and everything.
So we rented it, and we really, really liked it. We both thought it was excellent. I was afraid it was going to be like this, like, disturbing Rob Zombie shock fest, and it wasn't anything like that at all. It was not anything like that, because I am not a fan of the Rob Zombie horror that much anymore. Now, we liked House of a Thousand Corpses back in his early days, but I think that's probably just about it. We've watched 31, and what was the other one that Lords of Salem?
Lords of Salem. And I mean,
don't watch that movie. It is terrible.
Some of his music, and his music videos especially, were really cool and had that, you know, the horror and everything. And House of a Thousand Corpses is one of those that I like to go back to, like, every other Halloween and that. But yeah, I'm not so sure that he needs to be around a camera anymore as far as directing, because everything I've watched from him in the longest while has been just gotten increasingly worse.
When we watched Lords of Salem, and I was so excited to watch that movie. I was really excited because I thought it was going to be fantastic. The premise of it sounds so fantastic. And when we watched it, it was over, credits rolled, I turned to him and I said, so Satan was a dwarf with 2 wieners? That's exactly what I said. So Satan was a dwarf with 2 wieners. I was totally confused. Like, it was terrible. It was a terrible movie. And it had all this, like, I don't know, it had like a lot of potential with Meg Foster and Dee Wallace and everything, and it just had so much. The
premise, the storyline and everything was really interesting. I mean, it could have been a really good movie and everything.
I'm gonna hold the camera because we're going to our exit. Actually, I should probably sign off. Do you think we should sign off because we gotta make a turn?
Well, you got one more though.
Okay. I'm holding it, so go ahead.
Which is the total polar opposite of the subtle horror, and that was the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that one.
We already had it on DVD, but I wanted a Blu-ray copy, and and to me, the Dawn of the Dead, the original, is a classic anyways, but the Dawn of the Dead remake is like the perfect zombie flick. I mean, it is just, it probably has one of the greatest opening credits scene of all time, with the music and the combination and everything. And the characters, there's characters that you'll really like and characters that you'll really hate and everything. But it is just, it's a fantastic movie, and the original is a fantastic.
Yeah, I really, really like that remake. Remakes in general. I know this is a weird camera angle. I'm just trying to stop the camera from flying over. the remakes in general are not my favorite thing. However, that is a really good remake. It's super, super good, and we both really, really like that one a lot. The music is good, the characters are good, the zombie action, that's the first time, well, I think I saw Zombies Go Fast in 28 Days Later, but I mean, they like, those zombies are hauling butt, and it just like, wow, it just really throws you off, you know, those speedy zombies. So yeah, we watched that recently too, and that's, I love that one. I think it's really, really good. Oops. So yeah. Okay, well, we're on a 2-laner now. We're off the freeway, so I'm gonna sign off, and we will check in with you guys soon, hopefully. But thanks for hanging out with us while we're traveling, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Oh, there you go. There